everybody's fighting Ghost Rider, and Russia has a plan. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for Avengers, issue number 16. So we open up with Robbie in, well, what he views as hell. And this is apparently something he's always seen ever since he became the Ghost Rider. It's sort of like a nightmare he has. And for him, as someone born and raised in Los Angeles, hell is a freeway, going nowhere at all. Forever, forever, ever, forever. And that's how he views sort of what it was like in the early days, especially screaming, trying to get control over the Ghost Rider persona. And while that's going on, well, the Avengers are trying to calm down this possessed Ghost Rider. So it's Robbie stuck inside Ghost Rider while everyone tries to deal with Ghost Rider on the outside, and it goes about as well as one would think. Thor's barely able to keep up, Captain Marvel's barely able to keep up, and at the same time, they don't want to hurt him. They're trying to reach out to him. They're like, you're in there somewhere, Robbie. Fight it. Fight the good fight. Whoop, fireball. Whoop, blazing chain. Whoop, watch it. Golden hammer coming at him. And that's pretty much what goes on there. Meanwhile, Captain America and Blade try to engage the Colonel and the rest of his group. It goes about as well as one would think. Not a lot of ground is gained here. We're all just sort of holding off. But for the most part, it's still kind of obvious the Colonel and his faction are the ones with the advantage, because they're also just getting ready to go. Like, okay, we're done here. Let's go. Meanwhile, somewhere in Russia, at an undisclosed facility, we see the Red Widow engage Dracula. And Dracula is trying to offer, information, whatever Russia wants for sanctuary. Like, he doesn't want to be king, he doesn't want to be a lord, he doesn't want anything other than just to live the rest of his life in peace. And he says, like, I have senators and lords in his pocket, sultans and bishops. I know plenty of people that have made deals with me for eternal life, for immortality. I'll give you those names. And Red Widow says, look, that's interesting, but, we want a bit more. And we're still not entirely sure if we trust you. And the Red Widow makes a counteroffer. And it turns out that Dracula's not the only person from Transylvania that wanted asylum. Effectively, all of Dracula's consorts, his bed buddies, effectively. And Red Widow effectively says, look, I'm going to kill all of them, and then you're going to tell me everything I want to know. And then we cut back to the Ghost Rider fight, and Blade apparently just had enough, and he just bites Ghost Rider on the neck, and he just sucks out whatever was inside Ghost Rider that made him crazy. And he even warns, if anyone makes a joke about that, they're getting a nunchuck to the head. And so then the question is exactly, what should we do now? And well, the Colonel's gone, so they decide. So Black Panther says, okay, we're going to take the vampire children we were able to save to Wakanda so they can get the treatment they need. And Captain Marvel points out the weird thing going on here, that they're fighting vampires who kill other vampires alongside a vampire who kills other vampires. They don't quite know whose side they should be on here, but as Blade points out, they won't stop with killing each other. They'll keep going until every one of us is dead. And then we get to, I think, the real important part, what I think everyone wanted to see, which is Robbie after all this is said and done. I swear, Cap, it wasn't me. I wouldn't have hurt any of you. And Cap just hugs him and says, it's okay. We've all been there. And yeah, Cap has been there. And this isn't the first time he's had to hug some young kid who's been wrapped up in something they probably weren't ready for. But at least this time it's not, Hydra Steve doing it. Meanwhile, while Captain America, Captain Marvel, Black Panther talk, Blade points out the fact they're probably going to send you home after this. You're probably going to get benched, probably just going to be just done after this. And Robbie points out he doesn't quite know what to think anymore. He's trying to wonder what the vampires did and how they make him such a monster. And Blade just sort of laughs and says, the writer always picks the stupid people. And instead of saying anything else, says, like, do you have someone you care about, kids? Someone normal who's still alive? And when Robbie says yes, Blade just says, look, go be with them as long as you can. Don't get involved in this life, effectively. Turn away now. And as the Avengers leave, with Robbie just being effectively benched, he says he didn't get a chance to tell them what he saw when he was trapped in. And he points out, maybe it was all in my head, but it still scares him. The worst part was how this person smiled when he knew he was leaving. It was Johnny Blaze. And Johnny Blaze was a good guy once. He was the greatest Ghost Rider who ever lived. Now he's something that chills my bones, maybe because I know I'm already more of a monster than he ever was. And that's how the comic ends. So this was alright. I was a bit upset to sort of see the Ghost Rider thing resolve itself so easily. I'd be like, oh, he's possessed. Well, give it time. Someone will bite him, and we'll fix it. It felt like Blade could have done that at any time, but he didn't. So I'm wondering why. I think the best thing about this was just to see how close to the team he'd become in this short amount of time. But it also, I think, would have been nice to see, it's sort of cliche, but to see Robbie fight for control, or at least deal with whatever's going on. Like, maybe he could have overcome what that Hellhound did. We don't know. And it didn't really feel like it was actually part of a story either. And it may end up being part of a story. But this whole Blade and vampires thing, it just sort of feels like a story we're tacking on. Because ultimately what's coming, what is going to happen next, is a bit more important, which will be the War of the Realms. But anyway, with that in mind, let's bring this video to close here. If you're new to the Bug and Think Tank, free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out some other videos on this channel. If you read this issue, love to hear your thoughts on it. Maybe the Ghost Rider thing could have been handled a bit better, I don't know. And I will catch you all later. This is the Bug and Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching, and may your fandom serve you well.